Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Oh, I'm just doing super. Or as my grandfather would say, I'm at least excellent.
I love that. Okay, we're going to hop right in. Describe your tenure as a professor and deputy department head at West Point, and how was it that you became part of the West Point faculty?
Yes. Well, I'm not the deputy head,
Oh, okay.
uh, but I am the associate dean for faculty development,
Gotcha.
and I absolutely love that. So really, my tenure at West Point and how I got here all actually started because I was a cadet, and I was so inspired by my instructors. I'm an environmental engineering. I was an environmental engineering major, and I was just so inspired that I had a goal that I wanted to come back to West Point and be that for our cadets. Was my goal, was my hope to inspire them. And so I applied. And I was able to come back as a junior rotator, so after company command, and then was here 2005 to 8. That's where I was part of the women's basketball team as an officer representative, but we can talk about that in just a moment. And then I went back to the operational army, two more deployments to Iraq to give me three deployments total, and then came back after getting my PhD in civil and environmental engineering from the Colorado School of Mines, and I've been back at West Point since 2016. And then I've been in my current role as the Associate Dean for Faculty Development since 2021 and just absolutely love it. People ask me, can, how is it? Do you have good days and bad days? And I just simply say, how could I ever have a bad day when we have these amazing cadets we get to work with, incredible faculty, wonderful leadership. It's just a treat every single day.
I'm so glad that you're there. Okay, you've been associated with the women's basketball team a long, long time. So, how and why did you become associated with the team, first as a cadet and then as an OR? And what were your duties and responsibilities when you were associated with the team?
Well, certainly. Well, let's push that way back machine way back to mm, let's go 1988. 1988. So I was in Belgium. I'm an army brat. I grew up in Europe with my father was in the army, and we were at Shape Belgium. And while we were there, very small community, my sixth grade math and science teacher, who I adored, Mr. Bossert, he was the coach of the high school women's basketball team.
Hmm.
And our high school was grade 7 through 12, like 526 people. So you went basically from elementary school, which was kindergarten through sixth grade, to high school. So no middle school. Anyway, so I was getting ready to go into my freshman year, ninth grade year. And Mr. Bossert, we knew him. He was part of our Jewish community. And so we saw him at services all the time. And he said, Ben, I need a manager. Would you be willing to be a manager, someone who I can feel confident will, keep the game book and so forth? And I thought to myself, I mean, I love this guy. He was so engaging, so wonderful, positive. I said, spend more time with him, absolutely. So I did. And so my freshman year, I started with women's basketball in high school, but it wasn't just him. The ladies were remarkable.
Hmm.
Sarah Speedock. I mean, just so many wonderful players that we had, and they were just all very welcoming. So then when I moved to Frankfurt, Germany, and continued in my dad's next assignment, I figured, well, let's continue with women's basketball. I ran cross country, I ran track, but women's basketball was just such a wonderful part of my life. And again, the ladies were fantastic. I am happy to report that we were the European champions my junior year,
Wow.
and in fact, yeah. So that was just wonderful. And then, like I said, I ran cross country, I ran track in high school, but my senior year, I was not going to quite be fast enough, almost, but not quite fast enough to run here. And so I did what any normal person would do. I wrote Coach Lynn Shavaro. And my brother was here 1 year ahead of me. So I actually wrote him and he took the note over for me to Coach Shavaro. And my letter said, gave my women's basketball managing stats. And so, told her about what I've done. I was already accepted to West Point, but I would be there and I would love to be part of the team. Well, Coach Navarro was just so wonderful. She wrote a letter back and said, "We'd love to have you come." And what that meant was to come and be part of the team. So on the pre-R Day reception that all the players get to come in, family members, I
Uh-huh.
was invited to that as an incoming manager.
Love
So I
that.
went to that as an incoming manager and was welcomed by my classmates and just being part of this team by the coaches. And then we all showed up to R Day at the same time so we could go through as much of it together as possible. And so I did that. And then in Beast, you have your core squad sport. You go to your varsity sport. Well, I knew what team I was on. I was on the women's basketball team. So I went to the women's basketball line. Now, I do think, and I can safely say, I was probably the very first guy to ever go to the women's basketball line for mass athletics, for core squad sports. Now, it did not go unnoticed. In fact, later that day, I had uh, three football players have me report to a room. I purported, they said, close the door behind you. I was not sure how this was going to go, but I'll tell you, they were very professional. They just were trying to get across, what are you doing? You've got to be doing things for yourself. And I was having a hard time processing what they were saying. I was like, how could I not want to spend time supporting the Army women's basketball team that has such amazing leaders and family member and just it feels like a family. How could I not want to do that? But I said, okay. They said, what else were you involved in? I said, well, I ran cross country. I ran track in high school. And they said, okay, well, then go to that next mass athletics. So I did. I went to it one time. I showed up, and just by showing up, I think it was one of the coaches or someone there said, oh, you're that one. And I said, yes, I am that one. That was the only time that I missed mass athletics for the rest of Beast. I was always with women's basketball. Now it is true. That time when I came back, they asked, "Hey, where were you?" I told them what had happened. Gina Scarcella, our team captain that year, she happened to be a Beast One company commander. You
Wow.
don't get to have that position unless you are incredibly proficient militarily, academically, physically. You're a leader in the Corps. Well, that's what she was. And I told her the story. Well, she must have said something because no one said anything to me ever again. Like the
Wow.
entire Beast or anything like that. Now, at your company, when you go there, also no one said anything to me. None of my classmates or anything, because when I was in the company area, I was doing my cadet duties. And I was making sure I was doing a little bit more than I needed to because I knew I'd be gone for women's basketball. None of them ever thought that I was trying to get over or do anything. They just knew that I loved women's basketball. I was part of it. That was my family. And I was going to help out and be part of the company family when I was there with them. So that's what started it. I was there all 4 years.
So good.
I missed one game in 4 years because I think I was sick. But other than that, every practice, my roles, responsibilities as a manager was my take on it was to do everything that I needed to make sure the coaches only needed to worry about practice. I would take care of everything, whether it be uniforms, making sure they were getting washed, making sure everyone had water for practice. Now, this day and age at practice, everyone has plastic water bottles. It's
Mhm.
such a neat invention because back then we didn't quite have those. It was just cups that we would fill and put behind the backboards. Much more efficient this day and age. But so that's what I did. And I learned all that and felt so welcomed by our managers. Don Hazelwood was the firstie when I was a plebe. And then you had Michelle Sherwood at the time. Sherwood, she was a little smaller, so they actually called her Tree. But Michelle Eisner now, Marshana Bain, and so you had this series of managers that were there all 4 years that just loved the team and they just stuck with it.
Mm.
So
So
very good.
cool. I didn't know that story. That's awesome.
And, and then I will say one more thing about what I felt my responsibility was is that if I was supposed to make sure that the players or that the coaches should only have to worry about practice, I'd take care of the other stuff, all the admin type stuff for what's happening at practice. run the clock and that sort of thing. Well, then that also meant for the ladies, I should make sure that they had everything they needed. Now let's take that a little bit to the extreme. So my goal was that the ladies could ask me for something and I could only be missing it one time. Now let your imagination go wild. So let's say they needed some feminine hygiene products. They could ask me once, but I better have it the next time. So I had a bag that had, you name it, I had it. I just went to the cadet store. I'd pick up things. No one questioned. They knew I was a women's basketball manager. I I mean, I had different colored pantyhose in case we needed to have them dressed up for anything. I mean, we got it.
I love it.
So that's the cadet time. I came back, like I said, in 2005 to teach, and I mentioned Michelle Eisenhower or Michelle Sherwood. Now I got married, Michelle Eisenhower. She was actually at West Point teaching in the math department. And when I arrived, we linked up immediately, and she brought me right on to be part of the team as an officer representative. I That was Maggie Dixon's
Mhm.
first and only year here, but what an amazing leader, what an amazing coach, and the atmosphere she created. That was Dave McGarrity's first year with women's basketball. He's the assistant head coach, and so I was there at that very beginning. And then I was an officer representative with the team from 2005 to 8. When I was getting ready to leave in 2008, I asked the head officer representative and I asked Coach McGarity, could I still be part of the team? I'll just I'll just do the scheduling for the officer representatives for when they'll be covering games. That can all be done through emails. I just need the schedule, the academic year calendar, and who the ORs are. And I would do that. And it was strange. The head officer representative said, you want to keep on doing that? Sure. Go ahead. We'd love for you to. And so I did for the next 8 years away from West Point. I managed scheduling officer representatives for the games. That was through 2 more deployments to Iraq because it was just keeping me connected. That was very special. Is in last that last deployment of mine to Iraq was 2012 to 13. My 2 weeks of time that I came home was in November to be there for my middle child's birthday, since I had missed that a number of times for different reasons. And uh, and so I was home for that, was able to be there. And it just so happened the Army women's basketball team was playing Air Force in Colorado. And that's where my family was living in Colorado Springs.
Wow.
So I fly home from Iraq for those 2 weeks. And then they invite me, Coach McGarity and the officer for that team, Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Stark at the time, invited me to actually be the representative on the bench for the team.
So
And
cool.
so that's exactly what I did. And we beat Air Force because that's what we do. And
Cool.
it was just a pleasure. I came back to West Point in 2016 and have been with the team ever since. As a co-head OR, as a head OR, and now I transitioned to Colonel Julia Wilson, who's the deputy head of Department of Physical Education. She is now the head OR, and I'm in a support role just to help allow others to have those leadership positions and transition and provide good continuity. But this is my family. I I do lots of stuff at West Point. I'm the Jewish lay leader. I help support our Hillel, our Jewish choir. I'm the senior faculty advisor for our Society of American Military Engineers student chapter. I
Mm.
work with the Native American Heritage Forum. I'm saying all that not to say, oh, look at me. I'm saying all that to be very clear that if I had to give up everything and I could only do one thing, the last thing I would give up is women's basketball. Now, I hope that doesn't sound so bad, some of the other things I said, but I'm just telling you that women's basketball, that's my family.
That's so awesome. We are so thrilled and so grateful to have you all those years. Wow, what an amazing story. Okay, from your view with the teams you've supported and the cadets you've taught, what are the unique challenges and opportunities of being an athlete and a student at West Point?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I'll first go over some of the challenges and then talk about why those challenges are so are so important to embrace because of what you get out of being part of this Army women's basketball team. The challenges are you're going to be away from school quite often, especially when you're traveling. The demand on your time is going to be more than an average cadet. You know, cadets on Tuesday through Thursday, every other day will either be drilling or drill practice or be doing some sort of intramural. For women's basketball, when especially when we're in season, you're you're at the gym uh, every day, and it's for hours. The time commitment is larger. You're away from your classes more often, so that is a bit more challenging. However, all that is absolutely worth it because of what you get to do. I mean, so many people, when they talk about why do you come to West Point, cadets will say, oh, because I want to be part of something bigger than myself. Well, when you're part of women's basketball, Army women's basketball, you are part of something so much bigger than yourself. And you represent something beyond, almost beyond comprehension. I mean, you're not just representing West Point. It doesn't say West Point on your chest. It says Army. You are representing all service members across the Army, National Guard, active duty, reserves. That's who you represent. What a wonderful tribute. And so what I think you get out of why it's important to be part of, or what you get out of being part of women's basketball is when you get accepted to come to West Point, you have to think that everyone who all your efforts to get into this amazing academy, this amazing and have this experience, everyone believes that you'll have the ability in 47 months to go lead our nation's sons and daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And at the age of what, 22? I mean, that's remarkable. And because of that, everything is designed for your success here. So, and as part of the women's basketball team, you get that in spades. You get that tenfold because you don't just have all of your classmates and your company mates and everything that everyone has, all that support structure. You get a little extra dose. You have coaches that are very dedicated to your development, basketball and holistically as a person, as a leader. You have officer representatives that are dedicated to making sure that we are that connective tissue between the academic world, physical, military pillars and women's basketball so that you have a very clear pathway towards success. There's our Center for Enhanced Performance. There's just so many different resources that are designed to make sure that you as an athlete can be successful. And I think that's very, very impactful, as well as, West Point, we are developing leaders of character.
Mm-hmm.
And and you do that as just a cadet. You have leadership roles throughout the company. When you're on women's basketball, you do that all down at the company area and everything that you're doing there, but you also do it as part of the women's basketball team. And you're challenged every single day to compete. Winning matters, winning the right way matters, and that becomes part of who you are. And what's beautiful that I see this year with our ladies at practice, I'm seeing this just so incredibly clearly. They compete. They are tough. I mean, they are tough when they compete against each other. They're just practicing. The first day of official practice was just last week. And I think they've been practicing for 4 years together. I mean, it is just amazing. I can't even tell who the plebes are. I know who they are, but you can't tell when they're practicing. They are just competing and they are being tough on each other. Why? Because they care about each other, because they want to succeed and they want to inspire each other to be successful. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Ben, if you're not on the recruiting team, you need to be. You can get us some really great players, great Americans to come to West Point and play basketball. Okay, what are the challenges and opportunities that arise from supporting the players, the coaches, and then also representing the values and the policies of the Army and the Academy at West Point? That seems like a very hard role.
I like that you said that. It seems like it could be a hard role. I would argue it's not hard at all.
Hmm.
If you think about, I mean, the Army values, I mean, they're at the core of who we want to be.
Hmm.
there's a very deliberate process when you hire coaches, who they are, who they hire as their assistant coaches. Essentially, the Army values, that's they already have that. That's part essentially of who they are. So I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as a beautiful blend. And how do we help with the synergy of all uh, these different organizations or different folks, coaches, players, managers, practice players, director of athletics, all of those modes, brigade, tactical department, our U.S. Corps, United States Corps of Cadets, our faculty members, all of them, we all are at the same mission. Everyone is, the coaches have the same mission. We are developing leaders of character. That is what we're doing, providing for our nation. And so as we do that, and we realize that we're really all on the same team for sure, then it's not really that there's any challenge of how do we balance those. It's how do we bring all of those wonderful facets to bear
Mhm.
on the development of our cadets. And it takes effort. It takes effort. And what I love about that, I was just talking with a cadet about this literally 30 minutes ago before our huddle here. And it's wonderful if you're a great leader, but no one is a great leader without continually striving to be that great leader. You don't just get to say, "Oh, I'm a great leader. I'm there. I've arrived." No, you've never arrived. You're always at a position where you can continue to be better, and you should continue to hone your skills as that sort of leader, as a basketball player, as a coach, as a manager, whatever your role is. You are striving for excellence. You are pursuing excellence.
Mhm.
We're not trying to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect, but we should be striving for excellence in all that we do. And that's what our coaches do. It is amazing seeing them at practice, seeing how they care, seeing our practice players just challenge our players, challenge each other, the managers who make it happen. I mean, we have two great examples of recent cadets that are managers that, I mean, try to find another example where you'd have this anywhere else in the country. So Ashlyn Bigelow, great example. She was recruited. She was a recruited player, and she didn't play that much. She didn't get that much play time, and so it came time to see, what's the future. And not everyone gets to stay with the team all 4 years, and so the coaches had a good discussion. Say, really, this we're gonna have to, we'll have to make some cuts. Her immediate response was, "Can I be a manager?"
Mhm.
She's cut from the team, and she does not want to go. I mean, that's beautiful. I mentioned Michelle Eisenhower. I'm going to say that she tried out for the team, wasn't able to make it. She was a manager for all 4 years.
Mhm.
Like I was saying, Ashton Bigelow, she was a manager. Trinity Hardy, incredible player. And at West Point right now, she finished her basketball time with the team, and now as she finishes out her time at West Point, guess what she's doing? She was done. She could have walked away. No, she's a manager for the team
Mm.
because it's a family. So I think that's the best way to showcase how all those different facets they work together, and
Mhm.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Sounds it. Okay. What are the few, give us a few. You've given us a lot of good vivid memories, but give us a few more vivid memories of your women's basketball experiences. What rises to the top for you?
A few more. Okay. Let's see here. The very first one, when I was thinking about that, the very first thing that pops into my mind is class of 1994 Karen Gaventer. Unfortunately, she died of cancer a number of years ago. But what I distinctly remember about this, and I can't remember if it was an Army Navy game, but whatever the game was, she had the ball. It was down at it was on our end of the court, and it was stolen from her, and they were of course going the opposite direction. So now just imagine this: you're on the court. You know basketball. You're on the court. Someone's stealing it. They're going this way. You were going that way. Oh, she wasn't having that. She chased them down. I think she was like 6'2". She chased them down and she blocked their shot at the other end. How do you do that? Just remarkable. So you have that. You have Lisa Russell, class of 95, who number 31 on the team. And I think 8.5 shoe size. Okay, I was a manager. What can you do? But she was just remarkable. She didn't even play her first year. She pursued team handball and led the team handball team to national championship. But in her first 3 years, she's still one of our players that scored over 1,000 points in 3 years.
Mhm.
Just remarkable. And it didn't matter how tall she was, because you just were not going to stop her. And she was like she was a center. She was in the middle. She was not 6 something. It's just amazing. So I mean, you have that. So you have individual moments in games, but you
Mhm.
have times. You have, if we fast forward to uh, 2006, and being in Crystal Arena for our Patriot League championship game, and just seeing all the different times that Coach Maggie Dixon was there, and Coach Dave McGarity, and how they interacted with the rest of the staff and the players and inspired them. And then just being there for the championship, and, cutting the net down off it's just so special when you have those moments.
Mhm.
Other things, as we come, closer in time, uh, you have it just. I look and I see. I know this is blurred out, so I can't really show you very easily here, but I have women's basketball posters along my wall from the 2016-17 season, from when I got here all the way through. I have certain of the tickets for some of the games that are there, and just so I can look up when I take a break. I look up and say, "Yep, that's why we're here. That's who we're supporting."
Mhm.
But I think some of the amazing events that we've had, Trinity Hardy has been a big part of a number of those. Uh, and it seems to always be an Army Navy game that comes down to the wire. Now, we were at Navy, and I want to say this was either 3 years ago, possibly, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago. And we were down, we fought back, but we were still down. And I think we had, I don't know, 5 seconds left in the game, and we had to score. We had to score. We were down by one. We had to score to win. Who do you give it to? Oh, you give it to Trinity Hardy. Now, no, you think about how many games are on the line. You have 5 seconds. You're just working to get it in, get it to someone, and have them shoot up a three and hope for the best. Not Trinity Hardy. She has 5 seconds. I mean, that's enough time to probably, balance her checkbook, go out, get some food, come back. 5 seconds is a long time. And what did she do? Oh, she got the ball, and then she drove. In fact, she drove around people, through people, around, put it up for a win. And it's just, I'm getting there's actual chills on my arm right now. It just That's just one of the so many examples. The final one I'll say, I mean, you can't you you can't truly understand what it means to be Army women's basketball, and the fight and the desire to win, and the ability to work as a team, the ability to have resilience, the ability to overcome adversity, than looking at the Bryant game in the first round
Mhm.
of the WNIT, and this past year season. And you know you had Coach Missy Traversi was there, the coaches were there, Tony DiClemente, all the coaches, they were there. It was happening. And you give guidance, you prep the team throughout the whole season. but it's what the players do on the floor that's going to ultimately matter.
Hmm.
Well, I want to say it was third quarter, and we were, I want to say it was something like maybe 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. We were down by 22 points. You can go check the score to make sure. If I'm off a little bit, I apologize, but it's something close to that. Something close to that. With 3 minutes and like 20 seconds left, Dina, 3 minutes, 20 seconds left, down by over 20 points. Within that time, we were only down by 5. I mean,
Wow.
the other team, basically, when they rebounded, when they were trying to pass it in, we're like, no, I don't think so. We're going to go ahead and take this now. And we would steal it. We would take it. We would pass it to someone on the three. They'd shoot it. They'd make it. They would say, oh my goodness, they try to pass it in. We would take it again. It was, I said I wouldn't cry, but here I am. Oh my gosh, it was just remarkable. Uh, and then in the fourth quarter, uh, they did pull away a little bit. I think they got up to 9 points. They scored 2 more baskets quickly. We're down by 9. It doesn't matter. We
Mm.
come back and we win. We win by 1. I mean, come
Wow.
on. Just fantastic.
Fantastic. Those are great, great stories. Thank you. You got a new coach at Army now, and I'm wondering, you being an OR, what advice do you give a new coach of a program? And they probably don't have experience with the military. They don't maybe understand all the demands put on cadet athletes. So how do you help them?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Coach Katie Kuster is just, oh, again, she's Army.
Hmm.
The coaches that the director of athletics brings here, they know what they're doing. They pick they pick people who have the right value system. They pick people who have the right background to really make a positive difference. And so I guess for if I was going to give any future or current coach any advice, is the first thing is trust that if you're picked to be a coach here, you were picked for a reason.
Hmm.
And now my challenge to you is every single day, strive to demonstrate the reason why you were picked.
Hmm.
And so, what does that mean? That means that you're holding the ladies to the highest of standards. I also that you realize that that our ladies, when they graduate, they're going to go and lead our nation's sons and daughters. So they're the time that's spent developing them, the time that's spent to coach them to being the best player that they can be, is also impacting their ability to be the best teammate they can be at their company, future leader, and so forth. So just be aware of that, and be aware that there's a significant time demand. That's another big thing that I think coaches are not used to when they come here. Is you can't just say, hey, come up and come get some shots in at X time. There's no extra X time. However, our ladies find it. It's
Uh-huh.
amazing. You don't have class every single hour of the day, right? You have 5 academic classes, you have a military class, you have some physical fitness classes. So, but there are still some time periods through the day where you're available. I see our ladies walking up the hill to go get extra shots in. Why? Because they care,
Hmm.
because they know you have to work to be excellent. So it's very wonderful. But I tell the coaches to just be mindful about the time demand on our cadets that they have for their other requirements. I and and also just to say, you have us. We are your ORs. We are here to help you if you have questions about what do these terms mean. There's so many Army acronyms and West Point acronyms. There is no way you can know that. I'm not sure you can know them all by the end of your first year, but that's okay. So don't be afraid to ask questions. No one expects you to know. And I think that's another big thing. I Don't be afraid to not know something. That shows humility and that we're all learning here. So that's good. But I'll just tell you, I'm just super, every coach that I've ever been able to support. Uh, and we're talking, from Coach Lynn Chavarro, from Maggie Dixon, Dave McGarity, Missy Traversy, Katie Kuster. There's something special about each one of them. They all have different strengths and different things that they do and different ways of leading and coaching. But we always are getting better. We're always thinking about how can we develop that team. And so I think that's sort of the gist of what I would say.
Excellent. Thank you so much.